Hi, everybody. You are listening to Power Bites with Purva, a podcast consciously designed to deliver very impactful conversation with entrepreneurs, change maker, and industry leaders. Today, I'm joined with Jody Alston from the Money. Blah, 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 blah. Today, I'm joined with Jody Alston from the Money Store, a powerhouse in the mortgage industry who has built a thriving business in competitive market and a very rate sensitive market. Jody, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So tell me, I know you very well. Mm-hmm. I know everything. We've been talking it pretty much every single day. But tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
So I personally, I'm a mom of 4 daughters. I have an 8-year-old grandson, and I've been married for 31 years. So I live in Ashburn, Virginia, and I have been in the mortgage industry since before the crash. So 20-some years.
Ago.
Yeah, exactly, a long time. And I have an office right here in Loudon, and I've pretty much, since I got in the industry, I've always had my own branch. I'm a very entrepreneurial mindset. So as soon as I got in the industry, all I wanted to do was figure out how to have my own branch. And that's exactly what I did.
Amazing. Yeah. I've been always wanted to ask you this question. How was that first thought came in your mind where you were like, okay, you know what? I think I'm going to get my license. I want to start this.
So because of my mindset of being an entrepreneur, and I have very big aspirations in life, so the mortgage industry in general has been always something I wanted to do as soon as I learned about it. So I learned about it randomly from my business partner now, her ex-husband actually, was in the industry, and I was talking to him about it, and I've always been good at sales, and I love logic puzzles. Right? So that's pretty much the mortgage industry, right? There's logic puzzles that you have to constantly put together. So my mind is creative in that element of being able to self-market. And I have a math mind. So being able to strategically put deals together as well as structure my business, it was just very natural for me to dive headfirst in the mortgage industry.
So when you talk to your friend, and that was just in a conversation, you just decide that, oh, this something looks like where I belong and I want to start this?
Yeah, a lot of people in the mortgage industry just kind of either fall into it by some way. I purposely sought it out when I spoke to him and we were talking. He was like, sales. I said, I love sales. And he said to me, he's like, well, we sell money. He said, so, if you like sales, you love this. So after that, I just kind of went into it and never looked back. And I love it because you are helping people, you're solving problems. And it's great. I don't even look at it as a sales job, honestly.
You're really great at solving puzzles, let me tell you, with my experience.
Yes, I love that.
That's amazing. So when you look back and when you look at how you started everything, what was that first year look like for you? What was that something that when you look back, you were like, oh my God, how was that first year look
so like? When I first started, I had obviously really young children and I was juggling because we owned a health and fitness facility in Fairfax at the time. So I was running that, and then I would drive 45 minutes out and sit on a couch and just listen to salespeople sell and figure out the industry and how it all worked. And anything that they would say and do, I would go research exactly what that was. So it was long days, it was definitely 14, 16-hour days sometimes. But it was great. It was fun. It was late nights. It was, figuring things out. So, you struggle when you first get going. You've got to be creative. You have to financially balance yourself. But ultimately, it was worth every second of it.
Really? That's great to know. But when you are thinking of your struggle period, when you are thinking of that, how did you find that first 10 client? What was the behind the scene that was looking like when you started from a scratch? I'm sure it's looking back right now when you're thinking of today's days versus that. Today is much more, a little bit easier. It never gets easier,
right?
But a little bit more structured. How did you find that structure to work on?
So the structure in the beginning, I got in the industry and I'm a little bit different when it comes to being a loan officer. I have always got my own business and I have always done marketing. So I didn't go the traditional route of, work on your sphere, find out who you know that needs a mortgage, talk to real estate agents. I don't think I made friends with real estate agents for 15 years in the business. I was always like, I've got to go get my own business, feed my family based on what I can bring in and produce.
Oh,
and
wow.
I did it a little bit of a different way of doing things. So we dove headfirst in the marketing aspect of it. We would do mailing campaigns. We would reach out to customers that way. And it was a numbers game, honestly. Because we mailed 5,000 pieces out the door, and that would result in 12 closings. And it was as many 5,000s as I wanted to do, then I would close 12 transactions. And so then I got licensed in more states, and I took 47 different state licensing tests, because that was before the uniform national test was done, where everyone now only has to take one test. I took 47 different states.
Oh my
God. I learned a lot that way as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. If somebody's listening right now, and if they are thinking that, oh, you know what, I want to start the lending business, I want to jump into this one, what is something that is a myth out there that you would like to debunk? You'll be like...
So a myth that I would like to debunk from a new loan officer standpoint. So I have the majority of my loan officers that work with me, I've trained from nothing till where they are now. They weren't loan officers before. So I understand what it takes to jump into this industry. It's not easy, right?
Sure.
Because it's not easy, but it's definitely not impossible. You just have to commit to it, right? If you commit to doing it, you'll be successful. Right. That's really all there is to it. So somebody getting into the industry, you need to know that you take your NMLS course test first. After you do that, then your first 2 to 3 years, you are going to be figuring it out based on scenarios that come in. So a lot of loan officers that just get started will start as a loan officer assistant. Some of them will come in under a team. You have to have a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, you're going to screw up your deals. And as much as you try to get ahead, you're going to fall behind, because you can't mess up people's lives. So you really have to know what you're doing.
I agree. That's a very big, lending part in a real estate is the very major and important part. And as you said, you cannot play around with people's money. That's a very, very responsible thing.
Correct.
If I'm looking for a mentor, what is something, that quality that you say that I think a mentor should have this in a lending business to teach you where you need to be?
I think a mentor in our industry needs to be somebody that knows guidelines. Let's just start there, right? You need to know guidelines, because people can give pre-approvals for purchases, but a strategic pre-approval is like here versus a regular pre-approvals here. So having somebody who knows guidelines is crucial for starters. The second one, somebody who knows how to grow the business, right? Yeah. Because a lot of times when people come in, you can tell them to go off and do it, but be able to have a workshop in-house where you can learn how to go get your clients, whether that's marketing or organically, or through realtor relationships, is another one. So that person has to have the ability to help a person grow, right? And so then, and they should be successful, in my opinion, themselves.
Makes sense. And when you are looking back, and even today, when you are doing your business, do you more focus on relationship, market, or learning the product? And that is for, right now, you regularly practice, or somebody who wants to do this. What would your recommendation would be on that?
So you said between relationships,
marketing or learning the product first.
So first thing, I mean, you can simultaneously be working on all of them, especially if you tie yourself to somebody else. So if you are out there marketing to your people, right, and then they start coming in, if you have a team to lean on, and by team, probably mentor, branch manager, that kind of thing, who can, work you through each scenario, that's how you learn and grow, and you learn products. Now, you also need to be learning guidelines daily, right? So I used to have, back when I first started, there was these MRI books that had FHA, VA conventional guidelines. They were in my bathrooms. They were in my office, next to my bed. Anytime and anywhere I could, I would just open it up. I had a bookmark in it like it was a novel, and I would just go through and learn something that every day you have to be learning. Yeah, because there's people who've been in the in the industry for 20 years, but they stopped learning 19 years ago. And so that'll definitely impact their ability to be strategic, in pre-approvals and getting through, issues as the loan process goes.
And I agree with you. Our industry is as such, and specifically the lending one, that the rules are changing pretty much every day. There's something new that's coming. If you cannot keep up with it, it's very old, and whatever you're practicing right now, you don't know the new rules.
Absolutely.
And people who are coming, and we have worked with many deals that's as such, where you are like, wait, the guideline changed. You need to know this. You need to provide this, or let's shift from A to B.
Exactly.
And I think that's very, very, very crucial thing. Heading back to, I know that you said you were always entrepreneur mindset and always wanted to do more. Was there a light bulb moment where you started treating, rather than a mortgage lending, but as a business of this, or that was always a thought behind?
So I think a lot of it was always a thought in my mind, as far as, it's a mindset, honestly. It's a mindset of success, truthfully, and I'm big on, internal processing information and being in the right headspace. I always separated myself from any sort of negativity, whether that was an employee. I have terminated the top loan officer in my group just because I would rather, if I have to replace somebody with 5 people, it's worth it. Because where you are internally and mentally is going to help you become successful.
I 100% agree with you. And this is something my father used to tell me, where your success begins very first with your mindset.
Absolutely.
That understand, visualize where you want to be, and then figure out how you are getting there. Half of the battle you earned right there and then. But if you keep on questioning your own ability, you are creating hurdles in your success path.
100%.
And that's I personally believe in that as well. The positive mindset. Before you even start your journey, start from there. If I have to give something advice, not that my 2 cents, not anybody listening, but I would say that
get your mind
right. Get your mind straight. But let's start from a difficult time. Was there in your career, and if you answer this no, I know you're lying. Was there any point in your career where you felt that, oh my God, let me think of something else, or it's difficult?
So, I won't say no, because you're going to call me a liar. No. So, honestly, after I was in the industry for the first 6 months, and I at that point in time was on the different lead campaigns, and after being in it for 6 months, I actually trained the other 40 loan officers how to sell like I was doing, because I was very successful with it. So were there times when the market changed? Okay, so the market crashed in 2008, right? Yeah. So we had people who were ready to close, and the company that we were doing the loan through closed, right? So that was a trying time, right, in it, but never once did I ever think of getting out of the industry. We always would just bob and weave with the market. And honestly, after... and even during the crash, we switched over to doing streamlines. You know, it's nice in the mortgage industry because when it's a purchase market, we've got our purchases set up and our buyers. When it's a refi market, we've got all of our clients and we market. And when you market versus deal with just your sphere, you know, that bandwidth is so much bigger, right? So there's tough times in the beginning of my career, but you know, luckily in our mindset, everything works out always. And I think if you go into it like that, which is kind of our you know, my husband says, God, I wish we could bottle up that secret sauce of it's just going to be fine, because that's kind of what we've always said, and it has been. But I think that behind it all, it just goes with a positive mindset and just keep looking forward. If something happens, you just find a way around it. And so that's been my business mindset, and that's when I have just one loan. If something comes up and there's an issue, well, we just find a way around it. We find other options. So that's, I think, how I just keep going.
Keep going. I think that's the secret sauce. I'm fine and just keep going.
Keep going, right? Everything will work out.
When the difficult time came, when the market crashed during that time frame, what was something that you learned about yourself that, because I personally feel, and I've been through that phases where I'm crashing completely, and I learned something that, you know what, I think I need to change this and let's move forward. What was that one learning point or something that you learned maybe about the business, maybe about yourself, that was the time frame that you learned?
In the beginning, when the market was like it was and I was getting into this industry, when my mindset shifted, because I wasn't always like that with being positive and, visualizing what you want to do. That was never on my radar when I first got in the industry at all. So going through and exploring a lot of that changed how I just dealt with adversity in front of me, right? And so I think dealing with that is what really kind of changed, and I learned myself that, you got this, you know what I mean? Just keep moving, you're fine, and I did, and I would learn more and I would figure it out, and that builds confidence as well. And so I think just over the 20 years plus years of doing this, I've evolved with myself, and the industry.
That's amazing. And I think evolving is the key, where if you're not evolving or even learning something, you're going to be stuck at some point. When you look back, you'll be like, wait, I didn't grow. I'm still there. I didn't reach. And then you start blaming the market, you start blaming the around people, the system, and you start blaming other things rather than learning about yourself. Was there a point where you thought that this is my time now to start building my team? Or like, okay, I think I am good at this. Let me start training other people.
So that really happened within the first year of getting in the industry. It was that I like helping other people grow, and as well. And so the marketing that we were doing was so productive in that sense that we started recruiting and bringing on other people. Because, and then so 2008 when the market went and I had to get licensed in all of the different states, that element of learning things, I would train all of my people because I had telemarketers initially. And one of my best people now started as one of my telemarketers 20 years ago, and she's still with me, and so I would train people. I created an entire training curriculum around helping loan officers get licensed.
Oh, so that was like a first year you started building everything?
I started building the team the very first year I got into the industry. Yep. And then it started with a lot of telemarketers to work on the mailing that came in, and then, giving them over to me. And I had a couple of different loan officers. My brother is in the industry with me too. So we started on that a long time ago. And then it evolved into pouring into people and helping them get licensed, helping them build a life for their families, and in doing that, because I truly believe if you help other people become successful, everything takes care of itself. So I have that mindset now with both my real estate agents I deal with as well as my loan officers.
And I think that's why very initially, I have said this to you as well, initially, the reason that me and her get along really well is because we both genuinely believe that, okay, somebody's coming to us, let's first think about how can we help them. May that be a client, may that be agent, may that be whoever, honestly. And she comes with that mindset, and I can vouch for that. I give my clients her reference that this is one person you should talk to. And even if she's not able to close the deal, she's not going to care about that. She's more going to be like, oh, okay, you need this. How about you do A, B, and C, and this is your person to go to. I will not be it, but you do things not that she's not going to be able to do, to be honestly. But even if in a blue moon, if she's not able to, she's going to tell you that, okay, you need to follow this process. You need this. This is what it's going to look like, and this is the person that you should be in contact with. And that's something I feel goes very long way, where you're trying, genuinely being there, building a relationship more than a business. I think that's something sets her apart, and that was like one of my questions, but I'm answering for her, that I feel she is genuinely believed helping in other people. And that's one of the very, very, very best quality that's very close to my heart for you, to be honest. Is there something, if you look back or even today, that you feel, what would you describe your first 10 years in the business?
My first 10 years in the business, it was just a hustle. Do you know what I mean? It's always waking up and what do you got to do, and just keep just grinding, right? It's that initial grind of make it work. being humble, learning things, never feeling like you know it all, just finding it out and figuring it out. Right. So my first 10 years was definitely a grind in learning probably the biggest thing.
What is something that you feel sets you apart from other people in the industry?
Number one, I look at every single client as though you are my family, and I got to figure out a way to get your loan done. So nobody will fight harder and longer than I and my team will to help you get your loan closed. So I look at people as though you will close. It's just a matter of what day. It might be 2 years from now, but you're going to close. Every person has the ability to be a homeowner. It's just a matter of let's just set you up in the right steps and help and follow up and get you there.
Yeah, that's true actually. And we have been in a client where their clients were trying to close since 2 years,
right? And
we were just trying to figure out how to get there and how to make that happen.
Right.
What is your advice for somebody who is going to start, who's thinking that, okay, you know what, I want to jump into this one. What is your advice for them that first 5 years, you need to be prepared for doing this? What is the strategy you would give, the secret sauce that you would give it to them?
What's the secret? No, I'm just kidding. So if you mean from getting in the mortgage industry,
yes.
right? Yeah. So I have a couple people right now currently that I'm training who are brand new and getting in the industry. And so those first 5 years, you just have to be committed to the industry. Being a part-time loan officer, to be honest with you, it's not going to work. It's just really not, because you have to have so many different scenarios that you come across on a daily basis in order to really grow, right?
Yeah.
So it's difficult to do this part-time. Is it possible? And some people do. Yes, if you have a team. I do have a couple part-time loan officers who also have another job. I shouldn't say part-time, and they self-generate a lot of their business, but I help them on every single transaction.
Right.
So if you've got someone that can do that for you, then it is possible to do like that. But those first 5 years, you really have to look at as the foundation for your business, because this really is your business.
Yeah. And this is the question from, I talked to somebody yesterday and who is thinking to start a lending business or finding a mentor. I asked them, I'm talking to you, is there anything that you would like to ask her? And this is the question, and I like the question, so I'm asking that, what if this person wants to start and they are saying that, okay, I tried everything, I've joined the industry, I've tried everything, and nothing is working out. Very first focus, where should they put? Where do they need to reflect according to your experience and everything, that, oh my God, it's so difficult, that's very hard.
In the mortgage industry, they've tried?
Mortgage, yeah.
So if you're in the mortgage industry and you're struggling to generate business and do it, you're just doing it wrong. Okay, because if you're humble, sometimes the way you say things might come across a certain way. But if you have a mentor who can be like, tweak this, you're coming across like this, maybe they don't realize that. So working with somebody, there's no reason that you can't be successful in the mortgage industry. There's really not. If you can combine your sphere networking with people along with actual marketing to strangers, if you marry those together, it's impossible to fail.
So I have come across to so many new lenders where they come and approach me, and I find them very salesy.
Exactly.
And I find them say, I would never work with a lender like that who's trying to sell their business to me and build a relationship with me, tell me, like, business comes, yes, of course it is there, but I find them very, very, very salesy, and that's just a very put-off point for me. I'm like, yes, thank you for offering. I will definitely get in touch and probably block their number on the phone.
Right. And the clients will feel the same way.
Exactly.
Right. So that's what I mean by the approach, right? It's funny because when I train my new people, I'm always like, you can't be weird. You know what I mean? And I joke like that because everyone will make comments later. But in our industry, though, that can come across in many ways. You know what I mean? And I'm joking with them. But you really have to have that ability to communicate with people on every level. Somebody who is just starting out in their life to somebody who has, who's a doctor and owns a company. So you have to have the ability to communicate with people, real estate agents, your sphere. And if you just approach it from the standpoint of you've got the information, you deliver it to them. I look at every loan like, okay, let's just get this done. We're going to find a way to do it. I put myself on their level of right? And what exactly they're trying to accomplish. And then I just help them do that.
When you are saying that, you're trying to help them and you have a team, you are hiring a people and everything. When you are hiring a people, when you are interviewing them, what is something that you look for? What are the qualities that you, in a conversation, that you look for? That I know it's a very tricky question because there is a lot, but what is that quality? What is that point that you are looking for in them?
Determination, honestly, because you can teach skills, you can teach, the products and the guidelines, but again, when you first hear them and talk to them, you kind of have an idea of where that person is going and what they're doing. I mean, I will give a lot of people a chance. Being humble, right? That humility factor, because there's so many, when in sales, there's a lot of egos that they talk, and then they don't listen. And listening is a big part of, so that you understand your client, your realtor, your relationship you're building, what they want. It's not all about you and what you can deliver. You got to sit back and be able to listen. So being in our industry and being humble and being open to suggestions to help you advance your career, that recipe, that combination is what's going to make you successful.
Interesting. That's very true, actually, thinking about it. If somebody comes to you and say that, listen, I am not a networking person, I'm not a social person, but I want to jump into this one, do you think that still work out? Because I have met so many people who come and ask me, look, I don't like networking. Look, I don't like this. I'm not good with stranger. I cannot talk to them. I cannot convince them. If somebody comes to you and say that, but they would still want to jump into this one, do you think they are the right person to enter in the industry?
So networking, again, my first 15 years, I never networked with real estate agents at all, or even anybody like that. I went and got my business from strangers, right? From clients that needed help, and I helped them. So if somebody said, I don't like to network, there's ways, right? Okay. Even in real estate, if you're a real estate agent and you don't like to network, believe it or not, there are ways that you can, market from that perspective. If you don't like to talk to strangers or people, is that what you said? They don't like to talk to people and they're shy. I'm not so sure how that would work for you, because you have to have the ability to communicate. You don't have to be the social butterfly. A lot of our people are not that social from that perspective. But if you help a person who needs help, who's coming to you, right, then you can make it.
But do you think that in today's market, where you can see, like, it's a very competitive right now, especially if you see in Loudoun County here, it's a very, very competitive market, even for real estate and even for the lending business, right? Do you see them being successful even without networking, even without, talking, or directly, let's say in your case, when you say like directly going to the consumer?
Yes.
Do you think that will still work out? Or do you think...
Yeah, in Loudoun County specifically, if you're a loan officer that wants to market and not network, you have to have a bandwidth outside of your county that you're in, especially in this county where it's very competitive. That's why I had got all 47 of my states, right? Because when we would market everywhere. So then the people come in that way, and you sell the loans over the phone and you deal with your clients that way. That works if you're looking for that. But if you want to break into a local market here where you're trying to get the clientele in Loudoun County is not very much of a market responding county in general. Right. So, I could send 100,000 mailings to them, and they're not responders just in that sense, right? So if that's the case and you're trying to break into this area, you definitely have to put yourself out there. And by networking, you don't need to go there and you just have conversations. It's really easy to talk to somebody and bring someone with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree in the point where you need to broaden your, reach to get to the clients and everything. I have to go back. There was this conversation I was having with Vesta Settlement, Keith. Shout out to Keith and Melissa. We were talking about brand building.
Okay.
And there was a conversation where, in this competitive market where I'm sure you're also getting a lot of calls where, oh, what are the rates you are providing? So-and-so is providing this much. Okay, can you provide lower? There's always a comparison that's going on. Yeah. In that kind of a market, you can go to the bottom. Like there is a comparison where you can go hit the bottom. But how do you differentiate? How do you hold your brand above all of this?
Yeah.
And how do you provide that?
So I think if you do a good service for somebody and you do a good job, you help them get things closed, you stay in touch with them, then a lot of times when they need something, they only come straight to you. They're not coming to you and saying, hey, I saw this or I saw this, because they think you're their mortgage person. I have people that have called me from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, who are like, hey, I heard the rates are lower, no matter what advertisement comes their way. So if you pour into people, you help them, you offer that service, then they'll come back to just you. So that's for starters. Secondly, no matter how good of a job you do, there's a personality out there that they will always be looking for the best deal. They will always be looking for the lowest rate, and they do not care how good of a job you did. They expect that, right? And so those things, a lot of times there's nothing that you can do in those situations, right? There are other companies maybe that are out there that have people work in call centers that, that's their thing. They don't try to retain clients. They don't try to offer good service. A lot of them are internet-based too, so you'll never even talk to somebody. So in that case, there's nothing that you can do, and you just are fine with it. It's just, okay, so what?
You have just made a peace with it. Took me a long time to make a peace with that aspect where this is my service, this is what I offer, and I'm not ready to go at the bottom of it.
Right.
And exactly what you said, there was a phase for me where I felt every single day meeting those people where there is a comparison, there is this, and like you said, there are people out there who they don't care about the service. They are looking for people who are not offering service, just the bottom line rates and everything. Was that easy for you to get to a stage where, you know what, it is what it is. It's fine. This is what it is.
I think it goes with the mindset shift for me, because in the beginning, when you lose a loan or they go with someone else, you're like, how could you? You take it so personally, like, you get angry at it almost. But then you get to a point when you have that in your career and you're doing all these different loans and transactions, you're just like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Then I'm not the person. I always believe there's a bigger, cause out there for what people need, and whoever they went with needed that. It's not for me. Moving on.
That's very interesting. I agree with that. But that, for me, it was not that easy, to be honest. I had very crying days, many bad days where I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But
it's hard.
I agree. It's like you just have to reach to a point where you choose for your business, for yourself, a healthy output where you're like, you know what? Yes, this is this, but let me move forward and do this.
Right. Yeah, I actually train on that with my loan officers now, where, that mindset of rejection of some sort is kind of what that is. Yeah. But you can't look at it like that. There's just something else that client has to do and someone else that's supposed to have it. And you can't worry about it. If you are mad and I can't believe all this time I spent and blah, 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 and then they went with someone else, that affects you. They moved on. They're fine.
I agree.
You're the one now that's holding on to that, and it's stopping you from being in a positive headspace to be able to go and get your next transaction and help that next client. So you just can't worry about it. Move on.
You just have to move on. I agree. Do you after talking to you, there is always you are in the headspace where it's always positive, always looking above everything, looking at the bigger picture. Do you do something in your routine life, in your day-to-day basis to keep that healthy mindset, healthy balance?
Yes. Every morning. So every morning I do my little meditation. Every morning I say my, things I'm thankful for. I breath work and doing that. I do that every morning. And every morning I set a goal of, okay, what 2 things or 3 things can I do today that's going to move me forward on my big goals? So I always do that, and I write down in my list 3 things. And then I have a timer on my phone that goes off at 3 different points of the day that reminds me to stay focused on the 3 things that I have to do.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I'm going to copy that.
I learned it too from somebody. So it's definitely, you hear things, and how quickly you can adapt things is how quickly you can grow.
Does that the entire process, you do it every single day, and that helps you whenever you are having lowest point in a day, it's
100%.
Circle you back to the
100%. Yep. And it spreads. So like when I started being able to do that, my partner now at the office, she does it. So then we have that. It changes the whole atmosphere of the office, all of it. It's just different the way you approach it. And it's a lot. It's nice. It's peaceful. It's inner peace while achieving, abundance and success, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it definitely makes a difference.
Do you do that is there a routine for a nighttime? This, as you said, you do this every morning. Do you reflect before going to bed? Do you reflect something at night to keep you waking up in a very positive way?
Yeah, every morning before I put my feet on the floor, I'm always like, today's going to be a great day. I say it in my head every single day. And so I do that in the morning. And at nighttime, some of it depends. Some days you wake up and you're just off. You feel off, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I told my husband the other day, some days you have those off. I said this morning when I was doing my things I was thankful for, I ran through all the people I know, everything. I even said, I'm really thankful the guy shoveled my driveway. Sometimes you've got to reach and go deep to get your mind there. But if you do that, then it works.
Interesting. I'm doing that. I'm putting that in my note too. I don't write. I'm a lazy writer. But what I do is I have, before the year start, I have the things that I want to achieve this year. And then what I do is those 10 things or whatever things for my family, for my career, for my kids. I go through that in my head before I go to bed and before I wake up.
Okay.
And that's something that I do that consciously every day. That helps me to stay focused on what I need to achieve and everything.
Exactly.
This was an amazing conversation, Jody.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
Is there anything that you would like to put out there to our viewers who are watching, who are something to start looking for a mentor, how they can reach you, what should they be doing if there's something
if someone's looking to get in the industry or even make a change, right, and you're looking to just change your career, definitely reach out to me. For me, it's as much, it is as important that it would be a good fit than it is, because you don't want something that's not going to work and then people are unhappy. When you're unhappy, that doesn't do anything. So definitely, if you're interested in that, reach out. We can sit down, we can have a Zoom call, we could have, lunch or something, and just kind of go through and talk and lead you on that pathway. I was at an event yesterday and talked to somebody who was interested in becoming a loan officer and just gave her some tips, on it. So if that's something that you're interested in, reach out for sure.
How can they find you?
You can. My cell phone is the best way to do it.
I will have that everything in the bio.
In the bio, yes. Yep. My cell phone. You can email me, reach me at the money store. Any of those.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for teaching us how to be positive, how to just navigate through trouble and go to the finish line, move on to the next, and. Thank you for always being my partner, always being that crisis phone call when I'm like, Jody, I don't know what to do. Yes, so thank you so much for always being there. And thank you. Really appreciate your time and being here today and talking with us.
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to many more days like this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to shout out to Ruth, who's behind the camera. Thank you so much for helping here today. And thank you for watching us. And I'll see you next time.